Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it.
Well,
Today, we are going to be talking about trauma in the body, and I'm very excited to have Malika here. She is going to be the special guest that is going to be coming on the Breakup Proof retreat that I'm doing for couples in March. And I wanted to have her on the podcast so you can just get an understanding of who she is, what she does, and what value she's going to be bringing to the retreat. So welcome to the show, Malika.
hey, everybody. Glad to be here.
Okay, so one of the first things when I was thinking about what I wanted to have on the couples retreat, it's my very first one, but I know that I really wanted to be able to serve PMDD partners in a way that's different from what they are used to from me, whereas a lot of my private sessions are virtual, but you're going to be getting in-person private sessions with me. And then also you're going to be getting a massage by Malika, who is a licensed massage therapist that specifically, really does what I would call a triage in your body about where you're storing the trauma, what it's causing. So many times we assume that if we're having pain because of PMDD or the partner that doesn't have PMDD is having a lot of discomfort from the stress of the fighting and the monthly breakups and all of those things. We really don't know what we're holding in our body, and we think that it's PMDD related, and we're not really understanding that PMDD in itself is traumatic. So if you've ever heard of someone saying, oh, I'm getting body work done, or I'm getting work done on my body, they don't really know what that means. So Malika, can you really explain what it is that you do when you're customizing your massages for your private clients?
So what I wouldn't say specialize in. I said what I'm really good at is more of that intuition. So each one of my massages is considered signature. I don't go by a script. I more so assess your body. And that could be physically looking at it. Sometimes we hold inflammation in certain areas where we may just naturally store our trauma. And so once I do my initial assessment, I kind of go from there. So no two massages are the same. And so I think that is what has been very beneficial for me is that I could have someone coming in that says, oh, I've been having migraines. And after assessing, going through a full bodywork session, they get relief and not realizing it doesn't have anything to do with their neck, their shoulders. It could be low back, and that could be from trauma they've held for months, sometimes years. And so I think that would help once you're going through your sessions at the retreat to kind of release the stored trauma that you've been carrying for who knows how long.
Yeah, perfect. And I know I've had hundreds of private sessions with a lot of PMDD partners. And one thing that I've noticed that I can physically see when we're on camera and we're really talking about a lot of the issues that you have in your PMDD relationship, is it's sometimes stressful. It's a lot of times it's stressful to hear what your PMDD partner is saying, to feel like you're defending yourself, and to just bring up everything that you've been bottled up. So a lot of times you're not talking about the issues, you're not talking about things that are really going on in your PMDD relationship until you get to the session. Because I know for all of my private clients that meet with me on a weekly basis who have the monthly package, they're waiting to talk about those really stressful, issues within the relationship until they get on a session with me so I can be there to mediate. And when we're talking about them, we're uncovering a lot of blaming, shaming, name calling, all of the things that happens when you have PMDD or when your partner has PMDD. And then you're left in that state sometimes. So what I've seen is a lot of times at the end of the session, you feel relief from being able to get everything off of your chest to talk about a lot of your issues, but then also your body is feeling a little bit fatigued. And I know that when you go through that stressful session, there's a lot of fatigue in the body, and it's hard for you to relax after that. So, Malika, can you really just talk about some of the benefits of massage in a sense of having it after a private session with me?
So a lot of times with once you go through sessions and you're having therapy, you kind of touch on the constant roller coaster of emotions and fight or flight. And fight or flight occasionally are things that we can maintain just throughout our life, right? But if we're constantly going through a fight or flight kind of a cycle, our body continues to store things. So every month, as you go through the cycle, your body, you get over it and you're like, okay, I'm back to normal. But are you? Are you releasing all of those things that happen? A lot of times, what happens is when we store all of that, a huge thing I deal with is people dealing with like autoimmune oncology cancer patients. They're storing a lot from stressors over life. And our body, as great as it is, can get through that occasionally or, seasonally, or, oh, occasionally I have this happen, or this time of year I'm really busy and I'm so stressed. You get over that hump, you move on, your body kind of deals with it. But are you really dealing with it when it's like this roller coaster ride, right? And so I just touch base on immune system because people may say, oh, I don't feel so well, or I'm getting sick a lot, or I just have been feeling sluggish. And it's all of those fight or flight moments now just being stored in different parts of your body. And so the goal for the retreat is not to just 100% cure, you're going to be all better by the end, but it's to become aware of where our body's storing this so that we can better adapt when we go back home. And so I would like to do breathing exercises at some point throughout the weekend, things that you can take back home and help whenever you feel it coming on, things you can take back to your session with Rose when you have your therapy with her, things that you might notice and say, oh, I didn't realize that after this, I would have these stomach pains, or I feel like I went through a boot camp physical CrossFit session because now you're aware of, oh, I've been storing this for I don't know how long. Every time I get into like a stressful situation, when I get past it, my body aches. I have a headache. I can't eat. Breathing is hard. Taking deep breaths are hard for me. So it's just more or less, how do I start to be more aware of that so then you can kind of counteract it so that it doesn't start to settle into your body for long periods of time.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because when I've gone through a lot of traumatic arguments with my ex-partner, I stored a lot of stress and tension in my traps. Like I would always go get massages, but I think I was getting the wrong kind. I would just go there and be like, really go in hard and really just massage this out so that I can feel better. But I had a lot of inflammation after that. And I think I had a conversation with Malika, and she was really just explaining to me that sometimes we think that we need, like, oh, I need a deep tissue so that they can get the knots out, right? That's one of the most common things that we'll say, oh, I have some knots here on my body or whatever. And sometimes that's not what we need. Sometimes it's we really need someone that's going to be able to let us know a way that's going to help us to release that tension, that's not going to cause further damage and further inflammation. And I know during the luteal phase, when you're in PMDD, you're tense a lot of times. So that fight or flight is your constant state. And what happens is, as you're going through months and months and months of PMDD, when you're in the luteal phase, when you're experiencing PMDD symptoms, you're lashing out, you're letting everything kind of come out, or because you're not able to hold everything in. But then when you get in your follicular days, and you're feeling good again, your body kind of goes into that relaxation mode. A lot of the things that bothered you in PMDD no longer bother you when you're in your follicular phase. So you get that break. And so when your body goes from a period of completely relaxing to tensing up all of a sudden, as soon as you have symptoms in a matter of a day, um, your body consistently going through that cycle can do a lot of damage, because it's almost like your body begins to always be on edge. It's almost like you can't let your guard down and completely relax, because it's always on edge of, when is PMDD going to come again? I know so many of my private clients, and even you, I know you're probably, you know what it feels like to always be anticipating more trauma, to always be anticipating the PMDD symptoms. So even when you're in your good days, you could be in a state of anticipating that you're going to be stressed, anticipating a fight with your PMDD partner, anticipating you not feeling connected, so much that you never really get that break. And so what happens is, you go through such a long period of time where your body is on edge and your body is really tense, that you start to have a lot of other symptoms. Like, one of the main things that was happening to me, even throughout the breakup, I was having really bad insomnia. And I wasn't able to sleep because I was having all these intrusive thoughts, where I was just laying in the bed, thinking about everything my PMDD partner had said, thinking about everything that my PMDD partner had done. And I had not experienced insomnia before. Before the breakup, when I was going through, just regular arguments with my PMDD partner, I would have hypersomnia. I would be sleeping for 10, 11, 12 hours, so that's the opposite of insomnia. I was overly sleeping, and I was feeling like, even when I woke up, it's almost like I felt like I couldn't get enough sleep. So, Malika, can you really talk about how, if some of the partners are having issues, even the partners that don't have PMDD, when they come on this retreat and they're really having issues with insomnia, they're really having issues getting to sleep, they're having issues stopping the intrusive thoughts, calming themselves down enough to even get into that REM sleep, which is something that you need to release the stress and the trauma and everything.
Okay, so as I said before with the fight or flight, once you're kind of using that a lot, once that happens on this roller coaster that I keep talking about, you enter into this overactive, dysregulated nervous system, right? So it's like your nervous system is like, what's going on? Why are we here again? And so because your body is constantly in that period, you have this heightened sensitivity, as you were stating with it. You went from deep sleep all the time to insomnia. Your body is like in this shock of like, what's happening? And so what happens is, even if you're past this, we can say PMDD, or we can say this life stressor. I know people are dealing with grief and whatever their trauma is. After that trauma, where you're like, okay, now I'm going to get back to my normal self. If you have this overactive nervous system because of the constant fight or flight, you will be sensitive to, just everything around you, right? You have irritability, you can't sleep, you have anxiety, you can't focus. Any little thing outside of that stressor is going to affect you. I think adding into massage and just me bringing a few more little tools that you can take back with you will help you. We can't take away all stressors in life, right? We wouldn't even be alive if we didn't have stress. But how do we get back? The point is, how do I get myself back to that period before my nervous system was attacked? And I think with the deep breathing and the figuring out each individual's thing that they need. Some people journal, some people need to go for a walk. Some people are like, I just have to get away from everything. Some people are like, I put on my noise canceling and I'm listening to my music. Whatever we figure out during our time together, we need to figure out how to get that started as soon as possible after you hit this fight or flight. Because the longer your body stays in this chaotic moment with our nervous system handles those moments. When we take a moment and extend it into minutes, into hours, into days, into weeks, our body is completely in a state of shock. So even if you're going through the motions, it's kind of like when you're so stressed and you're taking a drive somewhere, you get to your destination and you look back and go, I don't remember which way I took. Did I run that light? You're kind of in this other world of like, I don't know, I'm just functioning. I'm on autopilot. We have to reel that back in. And so I definitely start with breathing, but the massage piece is me kind of triaging and touching your body to see like where are you holding this stress? And I guarantee you, I will most likely find inflammation somewhere. And it probably is in a place of like, I didn't even notice that. As you know, our body's connected. It could be you store it. I know Rose was saying in her traps. I know somebody who was storing it, near their rib cage, which was ultimately causing them to have a lot of breathing issues. And it was mainly because they were storing all their trauma around their mid area section of um, mainly the rib cage area, which protects your lungs. So if all that's inflamed and you're going day to day and you're going through your roller coaster and your nervous system is out of whack and it's just constantly building up inflammation in that area, then you go to lay down at night. Of course, you can't breathe because it's compressing on your lungs. And so most people don't realize that. And it could be anywhere from your feet to your hands to your neck to your traps. But the goal is for you to identify that so that you know how to best assess that and get it corrected ASAP. Because the longer you're in that place, it's harder to undo the damage that's done to your body.
Yeah, and I really want this is supposed to be a fresh start for you and your PMDD partner. It is supposed to be a way where you can reconnect, you can address the issues, but at the end of this retreat, I want you to feel safe with your PMDD partner. I've seen it so many times where you're going on sessions and you're trying to talk about what's going on with you in PMDD, what's really bothering you, what's triggering you. And sometimes you're at that place where you can't really even communicate what's going on. I've been there so many times where you know there's something wrong, you're getting triggered, but you can't get the words out. And a lot of times you can't get the words out of what's going on because your body is so inflamed in a sense of it's hyper reactive. It seems like you have so many thoughts in your mind, but you can't really get it out. And you need to relax in order to do that. You need to calm down in order to do that. And so I know when we're talking about, trauma is held in the body, I'm going to give you 10 signs that trauma is held in the body. And you just, you can kind of listen to this and say, okay, yeah, that's me, Dr. Rose. This is something that I'm going through. And the first thing is muscle tension and pain in your body, right? Like I was talking about, with my traps and just having just pain. And I know a lot of times when I originally found out about PMDD, I was just like, oh, that's one of the symptoms. But it was really because I was having so much stress in my relationship that the pain that I thought was because of PMDD was really because I was going through a lot of stress within my relationship. And that's the purpose of having the private sessions with me and then also having the massages. So you're uncovering a lot of your stressors. And then you're also getting a chance to release a lot of the things that are going on. And the next sign that you're keeping trauma in your body is the hypervigilance. So when you're in a heightened state of alertness, right? You may jump when your partner touches you, or you may jump when your partner comes into the room, or they're trying to talk to you about something and your heart rate is going up and you're having, shallow breathing. I didn't even know, Malika just talked about breathing. I didn't know that I was not taking a full deep breath pretty much the whole time I was in PMDD. I was just breathing like very shallow. And it's just like you're just breathing like just on the surface level. You're not taking a deep breath. And I remember someone saying, you just need to breathe. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I am breathing. Obviously, I'm breathing, I'm living, but I wasn't ever taking a deep breath because I felt like I was always trying to catch my breath. Like, PMDD kept me in that state of feeling like I was panicking all the time and I was consistently being on edge. And that means I was keeping that trauma in my body. And it could be where your partner says they want to talk to you, right? They want to talk about the issues that you're having. And so you're hyper vigilant about that because you're remembering the last time that they talked to you about an issue. And you're projecting and thinking that, oh my goodness, we're going to talk about our issues and we're automatically going to argue. We're automatically going to get into a fight again. And that can keep you in that state of hyper vigilance. The next sign that you have trauma that's being kept in your body is you're having the gut issues, right? The gastrointestinal issues with your digestion, right? You can have IBS, you can have indigestion, anything that's going on in your gut, it's probably related to the trauma that you're holding in your body. Because when you have the trauma in your body, you're not allowing your digestive system to work correctly. And I know a lot of times when we go into PMDD, we have a lot of cravings. We're eating a lot of crap, right? Because we're feeling like, we can't get full enough. But when you have trauma that's held in your body and you're consistently putting all the junk food in your body, but you're not giving your body a chance to digest it, that's when it's going to become, very traumatic for you. You're going to have a lot of issues within your body because everything you're putting in your body, you're not able to digest it. But being able to do this body work, Malika's going to be able to put her hands on your body and really release a lot of that trauma so that you can get back to digesting a lot of your foods that you're having. The next thing is the difficulty breathing, right? So, like Malika was talking about, her client wasn't taking a full deep breath. I wasn't taking, you know, deep breaths. I was taking that shallow breathing or even the irregular breathing. I was holding my breath a lot of the times. And I didn't notice this around, my PMDD partner, where if we were arguing or fighting about something, or if we had just got finished fighting about something, I would just be holding my breath for long periods of time. And I didn't know that that wasn't normal. I thought everybody, did it. And I was somewhere, I think I was doing yoga or something. They were like, take a deep breath. And I remember it was a very conscious thing for me because I was like, oh, I'm not, breathing correctly. And that's something, the breath work is something that Malika is going to be helping us out with the retreat. Number 5 is the increased heart rate. I used to have this so many times when your body is in that fight or flight after an argument because it was so bad where I could literally hear my heart beating in my ears. I could feel it in my chest, like it was pumping out of my chest. And I was not in a threatening situation. Even it was after the argument, but my heart rate was still going up. Or I was looking at a text message and, experiencing the emotions of that fight. And it was really causing me to, have my heart rate be all over the place. And that was a sign that I had, trauma in my body. And the next thing, which is number 6, is the nervous system dysregulation. So when your nervous system is all over the place, you're not able to just calm down long enough to have a thought, like a thought where you can articulate to your partner what is going on. Maybe they've said to you, like, just tell me what's happening, tell me what's going on. And a lot of times before we can even get, to the issues within the session, we need to be able to regulate your nervous system. So maybe you have the massage before the session, and then you're able to come in a calm state where you're able to actually say what's going on with your PMDD partner and talk about, the issues of the argument or the fight or the monthly breakup that you've had without feeling like you're in a panic mode. Number 7 is the comprised immune function, right? If you feel like you keep getting sick, you feel like it's always flu season, you're always, it's harder for you to recover from anything. A lot of us have gone through, the whole COVID era. And I just feel like when your immune system is weakened, that you really deal with getting any type of illness and it just stays with you, right? Your immune system is low, so you're getting sick again and again and again. Number eight is the disassociation, which I know I did a lot with my ex PMDD partner, whereas I just needed to take space and I needed to disassociate. And you get into those modes where you have like those blank stares where you're there, but you're not really there. And a lot of times when you're in PMDD, you have that disassociation because you're going through so much at the same time. PMDD means you have all of these symptoms. You have anxiety, you have depression, you have panic attacks, you have your insomnia, you have fights and feeling like you want to break up, and you have all of this going on at the same time. That sometimes you just feel the need to disassociate. You just want your brain to be able to take a break, and that means that you're storing that trauma in your body, because when you're storing trauma in your body, you're not releasing it. You're just holding on to it. So think of it as you have all of these things in your backpack. And all of the things in your backpack is the trauma, and you're carrying it around. So if your body feels heavy, if your mind feels heavy, it's because you have all of that trauma stuck. And so the next thing that happens a lot with my, private clients is the physical manifestation of your emotional pain. So you have psychosomatic symptoms such as headaches, body aches, physically feeling like beat up. I don't know why this is a thing, but a lot of times when I'm in PMDD, I'll have bruises on my body, right? Where I'll literally see, obviously, nothing physically has happened to me, but this is how I know that trauma is being kept in my body, because I can see that. And I've had private clients say, "Oh my gosh, Dr. Rose, I didn't know that was a thing." And it's, yeah, because when it's stuck in your body, it tries to come out. And that's a lot of time where the bruising comes. So this is the physical manifestation of the emotional pain that you're going through when you're fighting with your PMDD partner and all of the stress that causes. And number 10 is the sleep disturbances, which we really, really talked about extensively on the nightmares and night sweats. That's a really big one for me. That's how I know I'm pretty much getting into PMDD, is that I'll wake up and I'll have night sweats, and I'm literally where my shirt, I'll have to wring it out because my body has been in such a traumatic state, even subconsciously while I've been sleeping. So these are 10 signs. So if you've listened to the 10 signs and you're like, yes, that's something that I'm going through, then you need to come on this retreat so you can not only get to the bottom of the issues that you're having with your PMDD partner and get the tools, but you can also release some of it, right? So it's one thing to understand what's going on with your PMDD partner, understand what's going on in your relationship. And it's like, now what? I can give you the tools on what you can do to work with your PMDD partner moving forward to address some of the issues that are specifically going on with your PMDD relationship. But Malika is going to be there to give you some tools that you can take home. So whenever, number one, you're going to be able to know when trauma is being held in your body, because you're going to be like, oh, I remember that Malika said, I hold trauma in this space. So it's giving you that awareness of, this is what it looks like, this is what it feels like, this is how it's showing up in your body. And then the second thing is giving you the tools as to what you can do about it. So before we close, Malika, is there anything else that you feel like they should know about having private sessions with you once they get on the retreat?
Yeah, I want to touch base with I know you brought up on, I think it was your stories about we assume our body's so tight and we just immediately go, if I get body work done and I'm no stranger to getting a massage, hey, I want deep tissue. And I want to touch base on the deep tissue, the hardcore pressure, and kind of correlate it to um, some of the some of the items on your top 10. I know one of them is physical, and I want to touch base because I do have a client that when she's going through stuff, she gets the welts and the bruising as well, which is why I'm not a big person. I'm not a body work. I'm not a LMT that's just, hey, go straight for the deep work, because I don't personally know how much trauma you have in your body until I assess that and I touch that. And honestly, even after one session, that might just be scratching the surface, right? And so when you just go hardcore, you can ultimately do more damage to your body, adding more stress when you're trying to relieve the stress. So I am very big on a technique called myofascial, and it's releasing all of that Dr. Rose was saying, everything's coming to the surface. And in her body's reaction, you can physically see the bruising. Not everybody shows it that way. Their body may be sore. They're like, oh, I need to take a hot bath. But what myofascial does is instead of just dropping an elbow on your body, it's more so stretching that top layer of your skin to release everything that's stored underneath. Hey, maybe after 2 or 3 sessions, you're home and you're like, oh, Malika gave me this. I felt so zen. I felt so light. I want to do this again. Maybe you do several sessions when you return home and you find someone that also does myofascial. You may say after 4, 5, 6 sessions, now my body is ready and prepared for a deeper session. But also be mindful when you're doing that at home. Some people say, oh, I signed up for a self-care, I got, a birthday gift card. Be very, very leery on just going straight for the hard stuff, because you can ultimately hurt your body more by not kind of easing into releasing the trauma. So I'm very, very, very careful about suggesting deep tissue. Even if a client books with me saying they want deep tissue, I meet with them first before I say I would rather do deep tissue, because I've had people, go just straight for the deep tissue, and it took them even longer to recover because they never needed deep tissue. That's what they insisted. And so now I put my foot down and make sure I'm comfortable with deep tissue. So I mean, we hear it, and some people are like, "Oh, did you even get it? Did you get your money's worth if it didn't hurt?" It really shouldn't hurt. You may have moments of discomfort, and that's just as your body starts to release it. But myofascial puts you kind of in that parasympathetic where you feel more relaxed, almost like when the trauma's leaving and your body's floating. You should definitely feel much lighter getting off the table. You shouldn't have soreness. You shouldn't, have anything bothering you, numbness of any sorts. If you ever experience that in any session, you definitely need to scale back and rethink how you approach body work. But I'm more so focused on how do we get it out of your body the easiest way, the safest way, and how can you maintain this zen feeling, this parasympathetic where you don't have all these stressors affecting you. How can I take what I've learned here and apply it when I get back home? So I'm a big component of like, how do we get all of this out of your body the easiest, the less intrusive way. And I guess dealing with, I've dealt with a hospice, and they feel the best after myofascial. They sleep better. It helps with most of the insomnia, the breaths, the breathing techniques that we'll go over and I'll teach you. And I don't even have a problem with it being recorded, so you kind of can replay it later. It's hitting that diaphragm. It's not the quick breathing that we have when we're thinking we're hyperventilating and we're taking the quick shallow, you don't really go into that diaphragmatic breathing. That's where you start to get your body back into that calm state. That's how you start to undo the fight or flight. So these are just a few things. There's obviously each individual has their own ways to get back to that normal for them. But this is a start. The whole point of the retreat is to go away feeling lighter, feeling refreshed, feeling like, okay, I have tools to help better my body, myself, to get back the quickest way I can without harming ourselves along the way. And that's my goal, is to not add any more stressors. And so I would love to give each individual their own way, and everybody's different. You may, benefit from more myofascial, you may benefit from more breathing, but you don't know that until we test it out.
And I think what's so beneficial is that you and your partner will be getting a massage from Malika. And I think even just having this experience of having such a customized massage, because yes, you can go to the spa right now and especially next month in February. And you can say, "Oh, I want a couples massage," and they'll give you, a cookie cutter couples massage and send you on your way. But what you get with this customized signature massage from Malika is so much information, so many tools, and it's directly related to your PMDD relationship. It's very much going to pour into you feeling that release, and it's going to be something that you're doing with your partner. So it's not like you're doing the work on your own and they're just over there, still suffering through whatever you're going through. This is going to be an experience that you've never had before, and you're going to be able to have something that you're sharing with your partner, and it's really going to help bond you. And so when you go home, you're going to be able to look back and say, we really did the work, literally physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the things. And I think it's putting forth the effort, as we're going into the new year, we're here in the new year, and you're just looking at 2024. And this retreat is for PMDD couples that want to do something different. You know that you've been doing the same thing. And I always ask my private clients, think about where you were this time last year. Do you want to have a whole nother year? Do you want to have a whole nother 12 months of PMDD and you're going through the same issues and fights and problems that you've gone through? I mean, and are you going to make it? Right? Because the issue is that when we ignore the issues that we have in our PMDD relationship, and it gets so overwhelming and so stressful for both of you, one of you can say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's why it's called the breakup proof couples retreat, because we're getting you to that point where if you're on the brink of a breakup, you're going to be able to come, you're going to be able to get a fresh start, and you're going to have a fresh start with tools that are going to help you mentally, physically, and emotionally on your journey with your PMDD partner, and helping you just navigate things as they come up. So Malika, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, coming onto the show. I will put all of Malika's information in the show notes, and you'll be able to, learn about her more and what she's going to be bringing to the retreat. If you've not joined for this month only, you're getting the discount of $1,000 off. And so make sure you're taking advantage of that before it goes back to full price. But other than that, I will see you on the next episode. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.